This is Yep and That Too, hosted by Kerrie Roberts and Aaron Rice, a podcast for creatives discussing the craft and artistry of redefining success as we learn to maneuver through life with joy, contentment, and confidence.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Happy Thanksgiving!
Happy Thanksgiving to our fantastic... You know what? We need to come up with what our listeners are called.
Yep and That Tours? No.
Yeppers?
Yeppers? No, that's awful.
I know, it's terrible. Hey, you know what? Here's what I want to do. Yeppers? Tours? We are already way gone. I want people to comment to us, message us, comment what our listeners should be called, other than our friends
and family.
But welcome to Yep and That Too Thanksgiving episode.
Yay.
Those of you who are listening and not watching, I have a little pumpkin that says give thanks with a falling leaf.
I almost sang the Give Thanks praise and worship song, and then I knew Aaron would be like, you can't do that.
That's
legal,
right.
blah, blah.
I would have. Legal, blah, blah, blah. We have our very first return guest.
Yay.
I feel like we need
excited.
trumpets. Bum, ba, da, da. Mark Campbell, who was on episode 6 with us.
Yes.
And Mark, when I tell you that we get people calling, texting, hey, that episode was so great. That episode, we had to have you back and have you back for Thanksgiving. So thank you for coming back.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I'm humbled by that. Honestly, I'm a little overwhelmed and overjoyed, which is great for today's topic. And honestly, truly, pun intended, I'm very grateful to be back.
Yay. Yes, because today we want to start talking about how to have a successful relationship with gratitude. We just thought that Mark would be perfect for that and something we definitely need at Thanksgiving.
And, you mentioned in episode 6, I think you talked about it on the podcast, but I've heard you say it a lot of times, that gratitude is a neutral emotion, that gratitude centers us. And I love the idea of a successful relationship with gratitude. So I cannot wait to hear you, because I've heard you say multiple times, hey, let's start by naming 5 things you're thankful for, naming 3 things you're thankful for, or what, and you do it to me. I'll text you and I'm fired up about something and you're like, hey, what are you thankful for today? And I'm like, you know what? Not right now. Like not thankful that you're giving me a task right now. But when I actually do it, it literally does center you and neutralize emotion, positive or negatively. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I love that. So
curious, Aaron, about your relationship with gratitude.
I mean, we're just diving in at the top. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, because Mark is going to give us, I know, some very scientific base. So I'm curious about real life, Aaron. I mean, do you think you have one? And what? Of
course. No,
yeah.
I think the people that know me know I'm pretty optimistic all the time, pretty hopeful all the time. I think that is fueled by gratitude. I really do. I think that I am thankful for friends, families, opportunities. But I think that I notice the things to be thankful for. I try to be intentional about noticing little things. And I like seeing other people notice little things to be thankful for. I'm very often looking around saying, no, even in hard, difficult times, difficult times in my career when I was getting no 100% of the time and not 95% of the time, difficult times when, you know, there was more expense than income. I was always like, man, but look what I get to do every day with my life. So I think I think I have a decent relationship with gratitude. I don't know that I've ever thought about it. And now I'm like, wait, do I really? Thanks, Kerrie.
Yeah. No, it's good. I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, tell us things. Teach us things.
Well,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
so
no,
why do you tell people to start with gratitude? Let's start there.
I mean, gratitude is such an important part of everything we do. And I don't want to shortchange it. I don't want to be generic in how I describe it. We all know that today is a day to give thanks, right? That's the whole point of the day. It's in the name. But gratitude should be such a foundational part of everything we do. As you said earlier, Aaron, gratitude is a neutral emotion. So if we looked at emotions as having a positive or negative charge, happy, sad, etc., it's really easy to get caught up or down in our lives emotionally, right? Gratitude is that one emotion that kind of wipes the slate clean emotionally, that canvas clean, and then you can go forward and paint it to look however you want it to be. So no matter how happy you are, no matter how down in the dumps you are, you can express gratitude. You can stop and you can think about, like you're saying, Aaron, what's going right around me? You know, look what I'm doing, look where I'm at. And you can really feel grateful for that. And it completely wipes the slate clean and allows you to do more of what you want going forward. So, you know, I'm really, really glad you guys chose this particular topic, especially this time of year. If I could, just for a second, you know, there is a lot to be thankful for right now. There's a lot of really good stuff associated with today: family, turkey, eating too much, putting on the sweatpants so you can eat some more. Ham. I'm a ham guy too. I'm not going to lie. But, you know, this is a really tough time of year for some people. And it's a lot of anxiety and sadness. And depending on where you live in the world, you know, maybe your access to sunlight is less. So you're getting that seasonal affective disorder kicking in a bit early. And, you know, maybe it's tough because of where we are in the world. And maybe you're celebrating this year without somebody that you love or you're close to. And, you know, please understand if you're feeling any of these things, and if it's prolonged, keeping you from living the quality of life that you think you want, please reach out to a professional during this time. You know, I say it every time I speak. I'm not a clinician. I work closely with clinicians everywhere. I'm on the mental health continuum, more on the proactive side. But if there's something that you're having trouble dealing with, please reach out to somebody during the holidays. You never have to go at it alone.
I think this is an interesting thing that you brought up that people are starting to notice and be more aware of is one, I think mental health and wellness outside of just physical wellness is getting more and more attention, and very importantly so, getting more attention. I think people are starting to lose the stigma of, hey, I'm not okay right now. And I think it was probably 4 or 5 years ago that the first time I heard somebody say, hey, the holidays are very happy. But for a lot of people, they're just not. Yeah. And for whatever reason that may be. So I think that's very important to understand, and to be available to be with your loved ones to help process, or friends or whoever, to help process whatever emotion comes with a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you know, there's so many different ways to ask for help these days. I mean, because of the pandemic, one of the really good things that came out of the pandemic was telehealth. Yep. And you know, our usage or increased usage of telehealth. And honestly, I don't think it's going anywhere. I hope it's not, because more people are utilizing telehealth than ever before. But there's so many ways to reach out. There are apps for reaching out for mental health, because Aaron, you're right. There is more focus put on it these days, rightly so. I mean, I said at the beginning of the pandemic, as a health promotion and wellness guy, I was asked a lot about the pandemic, and I kept saying, there's a chance you might get physically ill from this, but there's a guarantee that every single person on the earth will feel this mentally and emotionally in some way, whether it's, the illness itself or someone close to you, or your favorite restaurants were shut down for 6 months, or whatever, stores closed and never reopened, or isolation and lockdown. I mean, there was so much added onto the already chaotic life that we had. Right. So, really focusing on mental health is the way forward. I'm so happy to see so many initiatives right now, and the current administration taking that seriously as well, and a lot of policy being signed in. And it's such a beautiful time that we live in to be able to ask for help with a lessened amount of stigma, which is great. And the more celebrities we have talking about it, athletes, musicians, so on, it's only going to make it more so for everybody.
I think that's one of the things I am actually grateful for is people. I don't want to say the pandemic was good, but one of the good things that came from the pandemic where people started taking the reins for their emotional well-being. And, a month ago, almost 2 months ago now, Sarah and I moved. And, one of the reasons we moved was simply for quality of life reasons for us. And I know people in our circles are like, wait, what did you do? And why did you do that? But for us and for our family, it made the most sense. So
I remember talking to Sarah whenever you guys were making this decision, and just over and over me telling her, like, I am so proud of you. You're so brave and being so excited. And I mean, our paths are different, but very much the same in the sense of Kyle making really just brave steps about his business, and us being just really intentional about the kind of life that we want to build. Because it's just, man, when it comes down to it, we only just have this one life. It sounds so trite, but it's just, I want to live the life that is easy to be grateful for, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And I know that we don't all have the same freedom or freedom of choice, but to just have the bravery and the courage to change what circumstances that you can, just doing it and trying to create and curate a life for yourself that you want to live. And that will then, it's like the foundation to then build the happy life and build upon with more gratitude and all of that. I think it's really beautiful.
Well, and the thing is, I was literally like, I was working too much. I was, and it took Sarah saying, look, you're going to kill yourself. Like, you are going to physically, like, I mean, I gained so much weight during law school, and then I dropped a lot of it, and then building a practice and whatever, like, I started gaining it back, and I was sedentary again. And it took that thing, but also just the other side outside of the physical of just quality of life and style of life we wanted, and her having the bravery to say,
yes,
you know what, it's not gonna make sense to anybody, but doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So grateful for that one. I am.
I love that. Yeah.
Well, and you guys both touched on something. I got to sneak this in there, but you both also talked about choice. And sometimes we forget that we have choice, and we have so much power and choice. We're made to think that we have to follow a certain recipe or a certain cookbook for life, but there is no cookbook, right? There are suggestions, and we have so much choice and so much ability to pick and choose what we want, why we want it, right? Who we want to do it with. And sometimes we forget that. But I think hopefully the pandemic was good for us in that way too. It had us choose what we prioritized moving forward. And Aaron, I think that's fantastic. Really happy to hear that, you and your family. And I know that was the right move.
Yeah. So Mark, as we get to the holiday season,
we're there.
Oh, I mean, yeah, this is
deep in the holiday season.
Thanksgiving's kind of
next year already in my brain.
Thanksgiving is kind of the beginning of the holiday season, right? I guess Halloween, but whatever. But as we were entering in all of the holidays, the Thanksgivings, what what does this time of year bring to you? Bring back? Does it bring back memories? Does it bring back like what does this do for you?
This the holidays have always been special for me. I mean, we grew up in the same town. You know what it was like in small town in Appalachia around Christmas and the parades and the lights and just always special memories. And I always loved the holidays because people were nice to each other, right? And people greeted each other and people wished each other well. In full transparency, and Aaron, I know we've talked about this before. A lot of people, when I meet people, when I talk to people, when I hear back from people, one of the pitfalls of my position and what I do is that everybody thinks I've always got everything figured out, right? They think that I've got this life that, bad things don't happen, or that I'm the sage on the stage, right? I'm always giving the wisdom and I'm not a real person, right? So, we talked about this before the episode. This is a tough one for me this season. As you know, I lost my mom earlier in the year to COVID, and this is the first holiday I'm going to spend without her, which is, it's been tough leading up to it, and today's incredibly tough. And but not to sound generic because of the topic of the show, but gratitude is something that's really, really helped me get through this.
Yeah.
Really remembering those times and being so grateful for the times that we had together. And Aaron, you knew my mom growing up. You knew what a great person she was. And, it's been so hard for my siblings and I just to think about decorations and, cooking, and because those are all the things that she did, so we've had to completely adjust things to still honor that memory, but, to try to move forward as well. It's never easy. I don't want anybody to think this is ever easy. And I'm not the first person by far to go through this, but I do walk the talk, and the things that I tell other people and I suggest to other people, I absolutely apply to myself and my family, so we're really talking about gratitude today, and it's not always easy conversation, but it's beneficial. And it's helping us through it for sure.
So practical application, what's the practical application of that? I mean, besides just in that specific situation, talking about losing your mom, that is, I think even just the act of, like you said, of honoring those memories and moving on, that is an act of gratitude, a physical act of gratitude. I'm sure you'll be sharing a lot of stories of gratitude. In our everyday life, do you think the best practice of a practical application of having that successful relationship with gratitude?
That's a great question. So the first thing we have to understand is, by nature, humans are negative. As we were first forming and walking out of our caves, we would look to the left and to the right for danger, for something negative, something out of place. And that's how we survived, right? Another tribe, a predator, a brush fire, meteor, whatever it was. If something was negative, that meant we needed to fight or flee. Basic instincts, right? So it's called the negativity bias. Our brains were hardwired. So our amygdala, get a little scientific, Kerrie, you teed that one up for me. So your amygdala is responsible for fight or flight. Okay. And you're always constantly looking for that. So as our brain has evolved and grown and supercharged and gotten stronger, and we've learned to reason and justify and problem solve, we don't really need that function as much, but we never switched that part off. So that part of our brain got stronger along with the rest of it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we've gotten really, really good at looking at the really, really bad. Okay. So that needs to be set up front, and we come by it honestly. It's part of our, our DNA. Science says that to counter that negativity bias, we need 3 positives for every 1 negative, right? That's a lot. I mean, that for me, that's really hard to do sometimes. So I just try to look for as many as I can throughout the day. Okay. Aaron spoke earlier about me texting him and saying, hey, what are 3 things or what are 5 things? Every client I ever work with, every group I've ever been brought in to talk to, every keynote, every workshop, I always say, first thing in the morning, when your feet hit the floor, you should think about 3 things that you're grateful for. Start your day that way, because we've all started our day on the opposite side of that coin. We get up late, we hit snooze, we're behind, we stub our toe on the bed frame, we go in the bathroom and knock our toothbrush in the toilet, then we spill our coffee, then we get in the car and we get stuck in traffic, and it just snowballs, right? And then for the rest of the day, what are you looking for? Other things that are making you mad, other things that are frustrating you, the bad stuff, right? I was working with somebody yesterday, actually, and she said, what's funny is that humans can look for the most minute details, and we notice the smallest things, but it's always bad. Why can't we do that for the good things too? And that's sort of in line with what I'm saying. If we can start our day listing 3 things that we're grateful for, 5 things, whatever number you choose, okay? At least 3, because that's the scientific 3 to 1. Then you're going to start looking for more throughout your day to be grateful for. When I talk to parents, I always say, when you sit down with your kids, when you have dinner with your kids, when you're talking to your kids at the end of the day, you should ask them these things. Tell me something good that happened today. What's something that you're grateful for? Really make that part of the family culture. Okay, Aaron, you said that people are really starting to focus more on mental health. That's a cultural thing. To normalize it, it has to be cultural. So talk to your friends like I do with you, man. And listen, I've had enough training. I've done this long enough. If I push back and say, what are 3 things that you're grateful for? I'm pretty good on picking up on those times that I need to ask you what you're grateful for. So when somebody's having
annoying times.
Well, but those are the times.
Which are the most annoying times. And unlike your clients, I can be like, shut up, I'm not answering right now.
Right. But I'll just text you back in a little bit and say, hey, I'm still waiting. Right. But that's so important that we can hold each other accountable and at the same time support ech other in this journey. Right. Just asking, hey, I know things are bad right now, but you're trying to break that spiral that I mentioned earlier, that negativity bias spiral that we get caught up in. And if we can stop and think about what we're grateful for in that moment, even something small, then again, it wipes that slate clean emotionally and it allows you to take a step forward however you need to be. Okay. Chances are, if you're thinking about something you're grateful for, it's something that is meaningful to you, which, it really impacts our spiritual well-being. You're right. Meaning and purpose. So for me, the spiritual wellness drives all of the other dimensions. And we have to have that rock solid idea of what our purpose and what meaning looks like to us in life to be successful. So just taking time to look at what you're grateful for can ignite that flame for you.
Yeah. I love the, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go.
I just get excited about it.
No, I was just thinking, I liked what you said about the family culture. For us, just because we homeschool, I'm with my girls all the time. That's just something we talk about all the time, and a lot of times it's tied to joy and noticing things and just like, oh, isn't it beautiful? Or, especially if we're grumpy, then it's like time to go outside. So it's just like straight outside. It's checking the milkweed. Can we see any caterpillars? Oh, look, it's so, just finding those little things that, of course, this is the sort of thing that would make Aaron roll his eyes. Are you rolling your eyes? I can't tell. I'm like, oh, the butterflies. Look at the rainbow. But no, truly, it's like
nature is something to be grateful for. And nature does change your mood.
No, absolutely. But I imagine you being like, of course, Kerrie's like, oh, I just think of butterflies and rainbows and everything's better.
Yeah, but you do that like on an airplane. You're like, I'm in a field of butterflies. Yeah.
Yes. But it's part of our family culture. And then, nighttime, bedtime prayers. That's when we really, we get our long list of gratitude. But thinking about it, I want to do better about thinking of something intentional and just something that's kind of, it's not, help me out, writer Aaron, not tradition, not habit, but sounds like something we do in the morning. Ritual. Routine. There it is.
A routine, a ritual.
Yeah. Like a gratitude ritual that we can add to our morning time.
Well, and then the more you do it, it becomes a habit. And then it becomes just part of your life of, hey, I'm going to notice the things around me that I'm thankful for.
Yeah. We say choose joy.
Yeah. So,
Love that.
so, Mark, speak to the person that says, you know what, I want to name 3 things I'm thankful for. I just don't have it in me right now.
So speaking to you,
some days.
I'm going to go back and look at our texts.
Yeah.
We all express gratitude in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So maybe the text message, maybe writing it down, maybe not naming it first thing in the morning. Like I said earlier, there's no cookbook for this. And everything I give to clients is a suggestion, right? And because there's no cookbook, I try to tailor everything to every individual because that's how it sticks. Okay. We look at past experiences which trigger those positive emotions. Think about the memories, the times in your life where you were grateful. And it's not always enough to just say, like, I'm very grateful for the time I had with my grandmother, right? My grandmother was one of my all-time favorite people. It's not enough for me to just say grandma. Okay, check the box, grandma. I'm grateful for grandma. If I can take a second and put myself back into that moment, put myself back into that experience and feel that gratitude again and ask myself, why am I grateful for this? Kerrie, not just saying my kids. Why am I grateful for my kids? What is it about them that just makes me so appreciative of my time with them? Mm-hmm. Right? Then you're more invested in that moment and that experience. And chances are you're going to think of other things, other reasons that you're grateful for that person or for that experience. And it can bring you back to the present moment as well. If you can just stop and look around and say, you know what, I'm grateful for that. I'm sitting in traffic. Not that you ever face that, Aaron, in Nashville or me in the DC area, but I've done this more than a few times, driving to DC and saying, I hate this traffic so much, and getting just all in my head and spiraling, and then saying, you know what, I have a car.
Right.
That's pretty cool. I have a place that I'm going that requires me to drive there. All of these other people are doing the same thing. That's okay.
Yeah.
Right. And it slows me down and it brings me back to the present. And I'm not creating those false narratives and devoting so much energy and time and focus and everything inside me to something that may possibly could potentially might happen in the future. Right. This narrative that I'm giving myself to that probably isn't a real thing. Right. I'm coming back and saying, this is real. This is what I'm grateful for. This is sort of in my control, which is another big piece of it.
So what I'm hearing is a healthy relationship with gratitude is a relationship with gratitude. Yeah. Gratitude makes us healthy.
Yeah. Gratitude affects every piece of your well-being, every dimension. And
perspective is so important. Perspective is just, it is. It's so important. I'm going to save what I wanted to say for my inspiration moment. So,
all right.
What are we eating today, Mark? Speaking of things I'm thankful for.
Yeah. What are you eating?
Is it Turkey World? Is it?
Well, one of the things you asked earlier, how we're coping with the first year without mom. We decided to make recipes. Each chose a recipe that mom would make, and we're so fortunate.
What did Matt make? Sorry.
Oh, I don't even want to go there.
Okay.
But we're very blessed to we found mom's cookbooks.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a festival in our hometown every year. So there's several of those festival cookbooks that, she wrote in the margin and changed it up a little bit here and there. So we each went through and picked something and and talked about it and we talked about the story behind it. And hey, remember when we used to do this? And
I want pictures.
We laughed, we cried. It was fun.
I want pictures of everybody's dish.
Okay.
So Kerrie, I know you are getting creative in the kitchen.
We're getting creative. How about I just share that about being creative? Because at Thanksgiving, everyone eats sweet potatoes. So here we are. This is one of Aaron's favorite things to talk about is propagating plants. And you can propagate plants with seeds or cuttings. And so sweet potatoes are grown with slips. So it's called a sweet potato slip, but it's just a cutting. That's it. So yeah, just like everybody else, eating lots of stuff with sweet potatoes. And these are going to go in like a greens pie, or you can just eat these leaves like spinach. So it's
A
cool
greens
because
pie?
yeah. Like a spinach pie. Have you ever heard of spinach pie?
No,
Like there's
that's
like
a thing.
dough and like creamed spinach. So you'd be like creamed greens.
So like a pot pie?
Yeah, but with greens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about like a dessert pie. I was like, wait, no. You
give
like,
me inspiration.
we were almost done. We were almost done.
No, now I feel the challenge. Now I'm going to go for it. And then, okay, so this is something new that I've made with sweet potato. I was studying about or learning about the Moon Festival. Just hang with me. The Moon Festival in China, they celebrate it. It makes you think of Thanksgiving because it's very reunion-esque and family-based, but they make these moon cakes. And so traditionally, in the middle, there's like a cooked egg yolk so that you can cut through the moon cake and you have this little round like moon in the middle. So instead of egg yolk, I have sweet potato. And of course, everybody ate all these. So all I have is a picture. Again, I'm so sorry. But I was super proud of this. They turned out so great and so beautiful. And then you cut them down and it has this beautiful little orange circle of sweet potato. So yeah, that's just some different things you can do with sweet potato besides your nasty marshmallow casserole.
I don't love marshmallows. I don't love marshmallows, but our friend the bearded baker makes homemade marshmallows.
Oh,
that's a different thing. That's a different thing.
Yes, that's very
so you creating in the kitchen.
Yeah, creating in the kitchen.
Mark reminds me of a question.
Okay.
Can you create gratitude?
Oh, I think there are some great ways to cultivate gratitude, which I would consider
propagate
some gratitude. The gratitude slips. Yeah. Right. We start with the slip.
That's probably true though, but go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, no, actually I could probably dissect that and come up with some real rationale behind it. But, a couple of ways that I would absolutely suggest is, I would start by saying, just reach out to somebody and say thanks. We all have those people in our lives that have positively impacted us throughout the years. And, I always ask, have you told them that lately? When's the last time you probably hold this person in high regard, but when's the last time you actually reached out to them? When is the last time that you've asked if they were okay? We're all facing hard times. We have for a while now. Okay. Kind of tired of hearing about it as everybody else is, but it's our reality, right? So reach out and just say, hey, how are you? Thank you for the impact you've made on my life. And the coolest part for me is that when you do that, you're benefiting from that gratitude, increasing your happiness, lowering your stress, all those benefits, but you're also allowing that person to experience in that gratitude as well. So what a gift that is. And every client I work with, I say, give me some good. And studies show that altruism improves our overall well-being and that it has positive impacts on our health, and it actually can help us live longer. So there you go. This is the perfect time of year to give. Find something that you believe in, an organization, a neighbor in need, and just give something, anything. Even if it's just thanks, even if it's just smallest little act of kindness, goes a really long way. And then we've already talked about my third tip, but get up and get grateful. Wake up in the morning and start your day the right way. Start your day by thinking about what's going on. I mean, maybe it's the dinner you had the night before, the sweet potatoes. Maybe it's the chance at a new day. Maybe it's your dog. Maybe it's the smell of bacon or coffee or whatever vegan dish Kerrie's whipping up in the kitchen. But something that you appreciate, something that brings you that joy and gratitude. Start your day that way, and I promise you're going to get more of it in return.
Yeah. And I just want to speak to the experience of reaching out to people. I am that person and I've done it, and it's so scary, but just do it. And you do. I felt like a crazy person. I'm just like, hey, we haven't talked in 16 years. You totally changed my life. I love you. You're my family forever. And it's just like, and I mean, they were amazing, and they are my family. And but we don't have time to waste, and don't leave it unspoken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark is so good at that too. I mean, he does it for me. He does it for my family. I mean, now he's got a relationship with you and he's texting you, encouraging and,
very encouraging.
hey, thank you. So Mark.
Sir.
Is part of this possibly maybe writing for you? Does that help you get grateful?
Absolutely. Writing is a big part of my life, as you know, and I love thinking about things I'm grateful for and putting it in word.
And we talked last time when you were here that you write, like, you post at least a haiku a day on your socials. You wrote some for us. Quick haikus. Kerrie, you know what a haiku is, right?
Yeah, I do. Thanks.
Okay, got it. Short,
17 syllables.
Sweet, 17 syllables. Got it.
Right.
It's almost like it's short enough you could do 2 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Before I'm just peeling the curtain back. Before we started, we were like, Mark, you got a haiku for us? He's like, I've got 2. And he read them. I was like, which one? Kerrie's like, you could do both. They're short. And he goes, yeah, they're haikus. And it was my favorite part of the evening.
Rough. That's rough, y'all.
I'm grateful for that.
Kerrie. I'm so sorry. Kerrie, you make me laugh so much. Mark, haiku us.
Yeah.
And these are pretty general, but I'll let you think about them after the podcast and let them marinate a little bit over dinner. Thanksgiving is nice. Why not try every day to express gratitude? And the meaning behind that is, why just have one day for giving thanks?
Yep.
It's not nearly enough.
Yep.
And then the second is, what if gratitude became our default setting from this moment on? And I did that because I wanted to prompt, think for a second, what would life be like if you made gratitude one of your default settings?
Yeah.
Not just what would the world be like? I'm not talking Pollyanna and kumbaya. I'm saying for you personally, what would change in your life if you had a better relationship with gratitude? I just want everybody to think about that, when they listen to this.
I'm a big believer, and I alluded to it earlier, in perspective. I remember thinking, as I write songs and I go, okay, for every angsty breakup song, there's the other side of the coin. There's the other story. For every, I'm living through a storm right now. The waves are killing me, whatever. That same ocean is a beautiful beach 40 miles away, right? Perspective is, you're in a helicopter and you look to the left and you see the angsty storm. Then you look to the right and you see the gorgeous sunset. Perspective, same spot, just where you're focused. So, which leads into my sort of inspiration moment, but I'm going to go last. Kerrie, do you want to do your Thanksgiving inspiration? Mark?
Yeah, I loved what you said about, just real quick, about being focused. I believe it's called your drishti in yoga, whenever you're trying to do like a balance pose, and you pick the one point that your eyes stay on and you don't move from that. And that like helps you stay in balance. And that to me is totally just what you're saying.
You can't say things like drishti to somebody who's a hip hop head. I'm a media like, that's your drip. That's your what?
I think I said it correctly. All right. My moment of inspiration, also known as, Aaron likes to make fun of me, story time with Kerrie. This is called The Cow Went Over the Mountain. This is an old golden book, and it was my brother's, and then also mine, and my mother's beautiful handwriting has my name right there. And I obviously forgot about this book. And then I picked it up one visit at home and read it and just began to bawl. It's not everyone's story. It's very much mine. I'm just going to read a few little things. It says, one day, little cow said to her mother, I'm going over to the other mountain. The grass is much munchier over there. Very well, said mother cow. The wisdom of a mother. Yes, go fly. So as he goes on his journey, he meets all these other animals and tells them, hey, it's way better over there. Come join me. And they all join. And when they get there, they realize that the other mountain is not so great. So they say, we're on the wrong mountain. And as they point, they all agreed that actually the other mountain was greener. So they start out again on their journey and they get to the bottom of the mountain and then they climb up. And what do you think they found? They were back home on their own green mountain. And they said, here, the grass is munchier, the bugs are crunchier, the water is splashier, the mud is sloshier, the honey is gooier right here at home. And for me, that's been my journey of life. Not that there's anything wrong with spreading your wings. And I think that we all should, but I just love it when my inspiration moment lines up with so well with what we're saying of just perspective, being thankful for what you have already. And especially just this inspires me because it's so much have been my story of just, man, musically wanting to go pop, coming back around to Christian, what I was always in, physically leaving, coming back near my family, and just the joy that has brought me. Of starting my own family. And now just my hope that I get to experience that as well, that the mountain that we're creating as a family will always just be green enough to be at. Yeah.
Mark, do you have a moment?
Wow. I might need a moment after that. That was really good. And just to let you know that I remember that book very well. Yeah.
I remember all the golden books with the gold on the bind. Yeah.
Pokey little puppy.
Pokey little puppy. Yeah. So since we talked about my mom earlier, I'll share something that happened just a bit ago. I'm not able to be with my siblings today, and we're different parts of the country. So I was on the phone with my brother earlier, and I was outside on the back deck, and there's some protected land behind my house. And one of my neighbors has a bunch of bird feeders behind his house at the tree line. And cardinals have always been really special to my family. Way back to my grandfather, who was raised on a little Methodist mission in Redbird, Kentucky, right? It was named after the Cherokee chief Redbird. My mom always just loved cardinals. We still have a cardinal room in her house. We've kept it. My brother sort of pieced it all together in one room. And so I was talking to my brother and we were sharing some stories, and I looked up and I said, you're not going to believe this. I looked over at the bird feeders and there were 6 birds on the ground eating seeds, 4 males and 2 females, all cardinals. And we were talking about my mom in that story, and it was just so surreal, but I was so grateful that we have those types of memories and those types of that symbology and such meaning that, every time I see a cardinal, it reminds me of that. And it's just such a special thing. And it's not a big thing, right? It's not like a huge sign every time we see it, but it's just that little moment to remind myself, hey, you know what? It's okay. I'm so grateful that this is part of my life. Right. And it was really special to be able to share that with them earlier.
Yeah. I love it because, I remember at your mom's funeral finding the painting or your sister found, and now I love that you found something that you go, you know what, it reminds me of this or this or this, and I take a moment and I reflect and I'm grateful. So mine, I'm going to read something too, Kerrie.
Oh.
Yeah. So mine is a story. It's author unknown. But my wife, my daughter, my parents, they'll all tell you that I am big on your perspective changes your attitude, right? What you expect, I saw, so this is not the story yet, but I saw something today. It was about college football. and it was like, hey, if we do blind resumes, it changes everything. And they picked 2 teams, and they had stats, win-loss records, all of these things. One of them very obviously should be ranked. One of them very obviously should not. The unranked team is the one that should have been ranked, and the one that is not, simply because voters expect this team from this conference, from whatever, to be better. And so we go in with bias, right? So, but this is a quick little story that I'm in love with. It says, a blind boy sat on the steps of a building with a hat by his feet, and he held up a sign that said, "I am blind, please help." There were only a few coins in the hat. A man was walking by. He took a few coins from his pocket, dropped them into the hat. He then took the sign, turned it around, and wrote some words. He put the sign back so that everyone who walked by would now see the new words. Soon the hat began to fill up. A lot more people were giving money to the blind boy. That afternoon, the man who had changed the sign came to see how things were. And the boy recognized his footsteps and asked, "Were you the one who changed my sign this morning? What did you write?" And the man said, "I only wrote the truth. I said what you had said, but in a different way. I wrote, 'Today is a beautiful day, but I cannot see it.'" Both signs told people that the boy was blind, but the first sign simply said the boy was blind. The second sign told people that they were so lucky that they were not blind. Should we be surprised that the second one was more effective? And then it says, the moral of the story is, be thankful for what you have, be creative, be innovative, think differently, think positively. When life gives you 100 reasons to cry, show life that you have 1,000 reasons to smile. Face your past without regret, handle your present with confidence, and prepare for the future without fear. Keep the faith and drop the fear. The most beautiful thing is to see a person smiling, and even more beautiful is knowing the reason behind it. So I love that, it's true. Like, both signs said, "Hey, I can't see," but I don't even think that it was the one thing I don't love about this rendition of the story is, I don't think it was, "Hey, you're so lucky you get to see, now give me more money." I think it was simply just, "Hey, I can't see and I can't enjoy it, but I'm choosing joy. I'm choosing gratitude." And people found the reason behind, why he was able to be making it. So I don't know.
That's one, very you too. Very you, the writer in you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Mark, thank you. Dr. Campbell, thank you
Mark.
Again.
Please,
thank you.
Mark.
I'm thankful for both of you, and I'm thankful for this time.
Yeah, I am thankful for the time of year. I'm thankful that we sit down to actually say what we're thankful for. Mm-hmm. Kerrie, I can't believe we are still doing this.
Yeah.
I should say thank you for making me do it.
Think you can thank yourself for doing it.
Because I was very much like, I don't want to do this. But seriously, thank you guys. Mark, thanks for joining. We have another whole episode ready for you. You just don't know it yet.
Anytime. Honestly, you guys, I'm so grateful, to know both of you. Okay. Aaron, we go so far back, and Kerrie, it's been such an honor to get to know you since the first episode, and just it works both ways. You said earlier that I send encouraging things. You both do that for me too, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for the opportunity to come on and help with the podcast, and just to hang out with you guys. It's just always fun. So,
and you are a faithful listener. We know you listen. You text us every time.
Yes, I love that.
But we were getting all serious and sappy, but I did forget something. Mark.
Yes.
You're hosting a podcast now.
Oh yeah, this is super important.
I've changed you the mood, I know, but you have it's so fun.
Well, thank you.
And it's like, I mean, I'm not gonna say I was the inspiration for you doing a podcast, but man, 30 minutes with us and everybody knows, gosh, he's so wise. He's so where can we listen? How can we listen?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you guys honestly were an inspiration, and I think you both know that, whether you're going to admit it or not. So I am very grateful for both of you. I know, how painstaking it is now to start one of these, and you both have been just integral in helping me get it started. It's called Nature of Wellness Podcast. It's an extension of a company I just started that celebrates the natural world and its effect on health and medicine and our well-being. And it's just so much fun. And my co-host is fantastic. I've known him for years. It's just, I don't want to give away too much. I want to get people to listen, but we've had some amazing guests. We've got so many, what I call white whale guests on the list that I'm going after. If everything works out, it's going to be just tremendous. I'm so blown away already at the reaction and reception. And so Nature of Wellness, you can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
I love it. And Mark, I have to tell you a story you're going to love as we wrap up. We were packing up to move. I found all these pictures and photo albums from when I was a kid.
Oh boy.
Aww.
And Addison was like, Dad, I want to look. I was like, okay. So we're flipping through and who's this? And she's like, find a picture of Mr. Mark.
Oh no.
Find a picture of Mr. Mark.
Oh no.
I did. They will be posted along with this.
No, I don't have a lot of money, but it's yours if you can.
There's a fantastic one, a fantastic baseball picture of you. And I don't know how I have it or why I have it.
Hey man, it's okay to be a fan. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll sign that for you.
Will you
if
sign
want
it?
something.
Oh yes, I love it. So anyway,
I love it.
Just draw a beard on it before you post it. Okay.
We're gonna post some old Mark Campbell pictures.
No, please don't.
So, yeah,
I have some old Aaron pictures too, by the way.
Hey,
we
you
have
know
posted
what?
some of those already, but we need
Yes,
more.
those those,
I'm sure you haven't seen the ones I have.
That's true. That is true. So, hey, thank you everybody for listening.
Thanks,
we
everybody.
are absolutely thankful for you. Spend time with your family. Enjoy your day, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you for listening to Yep and That Too, a podcast for creatives. Yep and That Too is hosted by Kerrie Roberts and Aaron Rice, co-produced by Sarah Rice and Maven Media Productions. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Yep and That Too Podcast with new episodes every other Wednesday. Like, comment, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. The information on this podcast is for general information purposes only. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as legal advice for any individual case or situation. This information is not intended to create, and receipt of or listening to does not constitute an attorney-client relationship.